why being lean in 2026 makes you a big outcast? Why you're giving a big F you to society when you're lean? Why, when you walk around in certain places, you might get double takes, you might get stares when you're lean. When people who aren't lean saw you when you weren't lean, and then they saw you become lean, why they start to hate, why they start making little snarky comments like you just need to live a little bit, or you're doing too much, or people just want to put in their 2 cents when it wasn't warranted. I'm going to tell you why this happens, right? Okay, first thing I need you to know, 99% of men will never be in shape a day in their life. Just needed to make sure that was recording. They'll never be in shape a day in their life. Like, here's the reason why. The world we live in now has gotten a little bit too convenient. And what do I mean when I say that? Like, back even as close as 6 years ago, like around the pandemic time, even a little bit before that, there was still friction to get things done. Like, for example, I want to know exactly how I am supposed to cook a certain meal in a certain way so that I do not undercook the center, I do not overcook the outside. I wanted to make sure that, let's call it a beef Wellington, the puff pastry was nice and flaky, and that steak in the middle was nice, had a pink center, and I didn't end up making the pastry black, and then, the steak was raw, all that jazz. If I wanted to learn something like that back, COVID time or a little bit before that, or let me not say that word, the vid time or a little bit before that, what you would have to do is you would have to watch a recipe, grab a cookbook, learn from somebody else. You would have to have friction in order to learn these things, in order to get skills. If you wanted back in 2013, 2014 to have McDonald's, have KFC, have Burger King, those goofy foods, you would have to actually take your steps, go outside your house, touch some grass, get in your car, drive to these places, and go and actually get these foods, have people talk to you, interact with people, get dressed. Sometimes you'd have to go inside if you wanted to avoid the length of the drive-through. But nowadays, you can hide in your little corner. You can stay in your house literally the whole day and still have access to a normal-ish life. Well, not normal, but your body won't shut down on you. You'll still be able to get food. You'll have electricity. You'll have a roof over your head. You legitimately do not need to touch grass in 2026 in order to stay alive. And there's too much convenience. Now, in 2026, here's what we have. We have ChatGPT. If I want to learn how to do not everything, but almost any fucking thing, I can just go on an AI and type something in and get a decent baseline as to what to do. If I wanted to learn a skill, I could just simply go on AI, get an idea as to what I need to do, the steps I should take. Let's say I want to be an electrician. Okay, there are these trade schools in your area. Apply to these ones, bring in your resume. Before you needed to know a guy who was an electrician. Then you would have to talk to his dad, who was actually the owner of that electrician company. You would have to ask him, how do I become an electrician? He would tell you, okay, you can do an internship here. You can start working under him for the experience. And then over time, there was more value to it because there was more difficulty in acquiring what you wanted, which made things that much more valuable. Now, anything you want is at your convenience. You want some goofy shit, you DoorDash it. You want to watch whatever YouTube video, whatever streaming service you want, you can get that in the comfort of your own house. You don't have to call up Xfinity. You don't have to call up Comcast, DirecTV and say, I want a box with these channels and I will do this plan so that I can start watching these shows. And I have to sit through commercial breaks so that I can get to the show. There was some difficulty there. There was a little bit more friction involved, even though that's still a relatively frictionless activity. And if I get $1 for every time I say friction, I'm about to be a fucking millionaire after this. But you get what I'm trying to say. Oh, voice crack. What I'm trying to say. Goodness gracious, what the hell was that? Back in the day, there was a little bit more friction. And here's where I'm going with this. Since we've gotten so used to instant everything, instant TikTok, instant all this stuff, instant noodles, instant everything, going through the strenuous process of getting lean and actually delaying gratification and looking at good food, good events, these things that your friends will invite you to that you have to say no to a lot of the times. These little free samples they'll give you at Costco, but you know you're already slightly above your daily calorie limit. Your limit was 2,000. You're at 2,050. Person at Costco wants to offer you some goofy sample. You have to say no to it so you don't end up 200, 300 calories over your deficit goal and end up making your cut slower. You have to make a lot of sacrifices. You have to tell people no a whole bunch of times. You have to delay gratification. You have to deny oneself. You have to feel hunger pinging on you at 7 p.m., 8 p.m., and know that somebody in your household just brought home a big order of Chipotle, of Cava, of Chick-fil-A, and you have to resist the urge to now go with them and get something yourself. Or if they call you and say, hey, I'm going to Chipotle, I'm going to Chick-fil-A, I'm going to McDonald's, do you want something? You have to tell them no. You have to deny yourself. And that is one of the things that getting lean actually teaches you. You learn how to deny yourself. You learn how to delay gratification, which is a skill that pretty much nobody in 2026 has. There's a stat that says that there are projected to be more millionaires, as in people with 7-figure net worths, as in people who have made $100,000 10 times over than people who have six-pack abs. And that's not saying that these people with six-pack abs are lean and aesthetic, because you know people who are skinny, they have abs, just invisible six-pack abs. The average male body fat percentage is anywhere from 28 to 30% in the USA. 28 to 30%. 25%, you can't see a damn outline. Your face is full, your back, love handles all over it, your arms, no definition, no vascularity, no shape to them. 20%, same thing. You're flabby. You might have the upper two abs peeking through in the most beautiful lighting. If you have a beautiful big light like the one I do right here, shining right over you, you might be able to see the top two abs ever so slightly if you're flexing your brain away and you didn't eat anything. But for the most part, it's the same thing. Once you get down to 15%, things start to show in. Your shoulders start to take a little bit more shape. You might have a vein here or there. Your chest starts to have a little bit more shape. People can actually start to tell that you're lift. You are officially out of the fat swole category, which a lot of guys are in. 10% and lower, that is where the game actually changes. That is where, when you go to the beach, people will legitimately look at you and wonder if you're an athlete, wonder if you're a superstar, wonder if you're an influencer, wonder if you model for these certain companies, if you model for Fashion Nova. Girls will come up to you and ask you, are you in a relationship? Yes, that's happened to me before. Girls will ask you when you are lean, are you dating somebody? Or somebody's friend might come up to you, a girl's friend, you'll be like, oh, are you in a relationship because my friend over there finds you attractive and she didn't have the courage to say it. These things really, truly do happen to you when you get lean. They truly do. And you might be thinking, what? A girl approaching you asking if you're in a relationship? Do you understand how rare it is to actually be lean in 2026? All you have to do, go out to Kroger, go out to H-E-B, go out to Walmart, go out to Target, go out to Safeway, go out to any of these places. Go out to Chevron, go to the gas station. Look around. Or even when you're driving, look to the person to the left and to the right of you. I can guarantee you, it'll take you at least 10 attempts, especially if you do the driving one, to find somebody who has a sharp and defined jawline and looks lean. Guarantee you at least 10 attempts. And that's me being generous. It depends where you live, of course, too. Like, if you don't live in a tier 1 city like Miami, New York, LA, oh yeah, 10 plus attempts for sure. If you do, maybe in little niche towns where things are like really hot, like Brickell, Miami, you might find some more lean people just because it's a really hot city. But, you know, being lean makes you so unbelievably rare. But the path to it is so straightforward, but it requires you giving your all to your goals and giving your all to yourself and giving your all to denying yourself and giving your all to actually being able to delay the gratification. That's what it truly does take for you to get to that next level, for you to get to that level to where people of all calibers are respecting you. For you to get to that level to where when you apply for a job, when you start up a business, when you try to partner with a certain person in business, when you try to make a move in your real estate, when you try to sign a deal, people automatically give a little bit more awareness to you. Their brows drop a little bit. They're a little bit more attentive to what you're saying. Like back when I was overweight and when I was chubby, you legitimately, and if you're overweight or out of shape right now, there is no problem with that, and we can definitely help you out with that. DM me change on Instagram. My Instagram is at Seth, SETHJ, just a letter J, Blanc, BLANC. DM me change. We'll talk about where you are right now. I'll identify your bottlenecks, and I can see if I'm a good fit to help you. But if you're overweight or chubby right now, let me know if this sounds right, especially if you're a single guy. You walk out of your house, you walk to the mall, you walk to Target, you walk anywhere. You see some girl that you find attractive. You might give her some eyes. You might be in her vicinity a little bit. But you give her the eyes, she pretends like you're not even there. And this is a common occurrence for you. Yeah, this definitely happens. Or you're on dating apps, you're trying to match up with a nice young lady, you get ghosted, you get flaked on, you get rejected. Sometimes you might even get brutally rejected. You might get screenshotted. And these things could definitely start to turn you cynical. They truly can. But the reason why this is happening is because, one, sometimes it might just not be the right girl for you. But the big thing is, there is no separating factor between you. There isn't. If you want a girl who's just a dime a dozen, you think she's beautiful, she thinks she's great, why would she pick you amongst a big group of people in the exact same lane as you? There is no standout feature about you. Like, think about it like this. If I wanted to buy some plastic and the manufacturer told me, you're going to have to pay $30 per pound for some plastic, I'd be like, go F yourself. If the manufacturer emailed you that, you wouldn't reply to the email. Because plastic is abundant and everywhere, but it's not valuable. But now let's change it from plastic to literal gold. Gold at $30 a pound. You would legitimately sell your watch, your computer, your car to get as much of that gold as possible, because you inherently know the value that that gold has. And you inherently know that if you are able to get this gold at this rate, you will not see it again, because now there's some rarity to it and there's some value there already. And now people are going to jump on that. And that's exactly how girls will treat you when you're lean as well. When you're lean and you have an aesthetic physique, oh yeah, that's not something they see very often. That isn't something that they see very often at all. They will come up to you. They will start asking you questions. They will start giving you choosing signals when you're out and about during your day. That is something that truly does change when you do get lean. And that not only will obviously eventually provide you a better partner, or a partner in general, that provides you something way deeper than that. Confidence. Because when you do not have internal intrinsic confidence in yourself, you can do all of these things. You can work a beautiful job. You can make 6 figures, 7 figures. You can have a beautiful house. You can have everything you want on paper. You might even be married, but it might not be as fulfilling. When you go downstairs of your beautiful big house you got, when you go up and downstairs, you might be out of breath. When you go in the room with your wife at night, she might be thinking, what's going on here? You might be feeling some unfulfillment in your marriage because of it, truthfully. And I don't mean to sound harsh, but this is something that happens to a lot of households that isn't talked about enough. But once you do start losing weight, I've had guys tell me that their marriages have literally gotten fixed because they got leaner, they got more attractive, and their wife, their partner, suddenly became more attracted to them and kind of got more of like an instinct for them, a raw, genuine desire. And why that happens is because you just naturally make yourself so much more rare. And the cost of you becoming more rare is extremely minimal. Because I don't like to think of, how do I want to say this? I don't want you to think of getting lean as a cost or as a sacrifice or as something that you're spending or you're losing out on when you're getting lean. Because when something costs, that means you are giving away your hard-earned value to get value back in return. There is no value you are giving away when you're getting lean. There is no value in you eating foods that are just fueling your gluttonous tendencies, or foods that are loaded with saturated fats, clogging up your arteries, or foods that are giving you these blood sugar spikes to where you're up and down, or where you're insulin resistant to where you might need to be on these medications. There's no value that you're giving away there. Will you be giving away some dopamine? Yeah. But guess what? Your dopamine baseline resets once you start eating healthier foods. So now, what needed Oreos dipped in milk with Chips Ahoy on the side for you to feel that hit, you get that same hit now from ground beef, from chicken, from rice, from potatoes, from air fried French fries, from these more natural foods that we're supposed to be eating, because our bodies clearly reject all of these hyper processed, hyper palatable foods for a reason. That's why you naturally reject them. That's why these ailments do exist. That's why our bodies are not meant to carry large amounts of fat, because the point of fat is so that if there is a famine, your body has fuel on itself that it can already eat to keep you alive. But in modern 2026, there is actually an abundance of food. And with that abundance of food becomes an abundance of bad decisions that are made every single day. Every single day. Fellas, the biggest way you can make yourself rare is not becoming a millionaire, though of course that will help. It's not making six figures. That is extremely common in comparison to getting lean. The biggest way that you can differentiate yourself in the big 2026, get lean. Take the 6 months. Take the year. If you're 30% right now, it's going to take you 6 months to get to 10%. If you're 25%, it's going to take you 6 months to get to 10%. If you're 50, 60%, it's going to take you a year to get down to 10%. But that should be your mentality. Your goal shouldn't be, I just want to look better. Your goal should be, how can I conquer this world? How can I be that man that is legitimately what God put me on this earth to be? How can I be that man to where I command presence in rooms, not just to where I can feel normal in rooms? You want to take it all. That's what being a modern Herculean is about. Hercules takes all. You do not want to just be there, be timid, be a background character, be a NPC. You want to be the top, the pinnacle of your ranking around people. You want to make sure that all of your cylinders are firing properly. You want to not only just be lean, you want to make sure that your hygiene is in check. You want to make sure that your social confidence is in check. You want to make sure that your social competence is in check. You want to make sure all these things are in check. But the foundation behind all of that, before you get to any of this stuff, is having a lean and aesthetic physique. That is showing that you can confide in yourself. That is showing you that you can trust in yourself. That is showing you that when things get hard, you are able to override your emotions and get better at being disciplined. And now your brain is accustoming to enjoy the hard things, because the hard things are now being associated with progress rather than the easy, cheap dopamine being associated with progress. But what are you going to do? My video, it can tell you a lot. And you notice I didn't really talk about the steps, all the things you need to do. Yeah, I could talk about the calorie deficits and the TDEs, but that information's out there. And you've heard it before. I know you've heard it before. You've tried some of these things before. And of course, I will teach you about that if that's what you need, of course, but I find that's not a very common issue. If it is, we go into a long, extensive nutrition talk if you were to get joined in or get accepted into the modern Herculean blueprint. That being said, though, that's usually not the issue. Are you going to implement? Or are you going to let video after video after video pass? Or are you going to let year after year pass? Or are you going to wait another 6 months? Or are you going to wait when things are more convenient? Or are you going to wait for 2 months when your life should start to look a little bit better and nothing fucking changes, because you're literally just giving yourself an arbitrary number to wait because you want to procrastinate, because procrastinating is easier than locking in? The choice is yours. If you want this, DM me change on Instagram at Seth J. Blanc. Let's get after it.